to be honest with you, I'm not sure, like if it's technically or not. But yeah, just been skating the last few days, and while the guys are on the road, and been feeling pretty good. So yeah, I think probably be ready to go any day here, depending on what the situation is. So.
And you're eager to get back in.
Oh yeah, for sure, itching really bad. Obviously, when you're out, it's mental strain, probably more than physical. And you feel bad, you kind of leave the boys hanging. But who's played great, and Coast played great there against Buffalo as well. So that's awesome. And yeah, just got to keep grinding.
So generally speaking, you just tweak something during the morning skates, I think it was, or something, or?
Yeah, just yeah, I guess. Getting ahead of myself, but yeah, just tweak something, and just kind of honestly, just health is a major asset in this profession. So trying and working on staying healthy is something I take very seriously, and so I just gotta cross my T's and dot my I's a little bit better, and bring my attention to that a little bit more. But yeah, I'm feeling good now.
Was it the same thing that happened in Toronto?
No, different, completely different. Yeah, but not something that I'm worried about really going forward, and so that's good for me mentally. But like I said, it's just like whenever you're out, like everybody put a lot of pressure on themselves to get back and as quickly as possible. So that's just my mindset, and yeah, just gotta try to make a positive impact coming back in, have a good attitude, and bring some energy as well.
Theoretically, your goaltenders.
We're hoping to have Talbot for tomorrow. We're going to see how we respond from practice today. Haven't got that report yet. And Alex Lyon will still be a couple days away, so that's where we're at.
And so Sebastian is kind of in limbo, or
he'll get sent down if one of the goalies get him playing again.
how do you take the defensive efforts against Colorado, Boston, and Ottawa and add it to the offense?
That's a great question. Kind of put it all together. It's just ironic that the last game we get our full 2 points. Was probably our most sloppiest defensively. Obviously, underlying numbers. It's the most chances we've given up. I do like the fact that we got some offense in that game, but it's trying to put together. Just met with our underlying numbers team, and we just got through a 10-game segment in which 8 of the 10, our expected goals was better than our opponent. You can take those. Now, it still didn't produce enough wins, but our process has been pretty good. I think it's a matter of trying to put it all together.
Have you decided on the starter tomorrow, or are you going to wait till...
We're going to wait for Cam. We'd love to be able to play Cam tomorrow. We're going to see how we respond from practice.
What have you liked about Lucas's game of late?
Assertive, go-to. Obviously, he's finishing, scoring, play at a high level, playing in every situation. Obviously, he's on pace for a career season. He can drive us. Talking about our process, our underlying numbers being good, he's probably a big part of it. He's winning a lot of shifts. So when he's on the ice, we're a pretty good team. I think that speaks volumes of him taking that next step in his career of driving our group.
Is he playing at that level that he was at the end of last season?
I think so.
You think so?
I don't think he was far off it at the beginning of the year, too. He wasn't scoring, but, that was pretty much our whole team. So he's playing at a really good level. And I know him and Dylan together have been very good of late. And we've had 3 different line mates with them. And all 3 of those line mates have elevated their game when they've been with them. I think that's saying 2 guys playing at a high level.
Sider had a couple big hits the last game. Did you kind of sense on the bench when you delivered that one particular big hit that it kind of lifts the team?
Of course it does. I think just all physical play. Anytime we get that, obviously that's not quite the way we're built, but you don't need to be that in the NHL anymore. You just need to be hard. You need to win battles, and when you can get those added hits, it's great.
If Koza does in fact end up back in Grand Rapids, what was your message to him after what
What an experience. I mean, obviously the games helped, but the process over the games and being around, getting to know teammates, obviously you can't get much more of a pinnacle or high than his game, but you can see, watching his game back, he did look a little rattled in there. He had trouble finding pucks, but got the job done. I think I was watching NHL last night, and I think it put it in perspective when Vancouver's goalie comes back, and he is an all-star, and he's talking about how overwhelmed he felt and how fast it was. And this is an NHL all-star, so you can just imagine what it felt for Kosa having to play at that level, and they're a really tough team to play against in that. You saw the other night they didn't produce a lot of offense, but when they did, it was grade A, and there was elite players, so I just think this will be a huge step in his development.
What do you think he takes away from it, as he goes back down? Obviously, he won't be playing.
Confidence, pace. Obviously, he's doing very well. I think he's, his numbers, American Hockey level, towards the top of the league. But just the experience. I think he goes down with almost a confidence of, hey, I got my win up there, and I can do it. This is interesting. The game looked a little overwhelming for him. You can tell even late, I think we tied it up, and they just had a harmless wrist shot from distance, and he couldn't find it, hits the crossbar in the middle of the net. That's something, when he's up to pace, probably an easy chest save. But he looked most comfortable when he got in the shootout. But he was calmed down. There's no traffic. It's mono versus mono. I just think it's going to build some confidence for him going forward.
You were talking about secondary scoring the other day, and then a guy like Copper getting a couple of goals. How big is that?
Huge. Just the line.
Yeah.
And I would say 3 of our lines the other night produced offense. Again, one of our more sloppy games defensively, we were giving up in the low to mid-teens on chances when the previous handful of games we were in the single digits, which is pretty high level. But we produced into the 20s, and that was the highest we've done in a while, and that's when you got it from 3 of our lines all had some looks, which is a positive, especially when you're on the road. It's tough to match up sometimes.
Did you expect for Edvinsson to be producing pretty much a half point per game?
No. I mean, this is a huge credit to him. I'm just more happy with his elevator role, playing at top pair, and what they're doing as a top pair with some really hard matchups. The offense has been great. It's coming. We've asked so much of him. You talk about Kosa looking overwhelmed. There's times he looks over. You look at the overtime the other day, and he got stuck out there for almost 2 minutes. And you talk about overwhelmed, and it showed. He had some mishaps. He turned some pucks over. But for him to be able to fight through those things, obviously a really good sign for him and the team going forward.
How do you see him helping them out in that role?
Being able to self-break out, being able to get stops, being able to be long. It's pretty impressive. I keep referring to underlying numbers because it's, maybe it's just today's NHL. But those two have been spectacular because they're not spending time in their zone. And those are really hard matchups. So I just think he helps move the zones. He gets stops. He gets breakouts. Obviously something about us two together has been pretty good.
We're in the middle of December here, and Razor talked about just the grind of the season schedule continuing. Since you've become a head coach, has there been anything that's maybe you've stood out to you or learned differently about how to navigate that 82 games?
No, it's experience. You learn from it. Even when I come into this league 7 years ago for the first time, you leaned on Todd Richards, Jeff Halpern played even here. Guys have played in this league. Obviously Tangs, Bob Bugner. So I think there's a learning curve on it. It's that balance of needing to get better with reps, but having some energy. So yeah, there's been a balance. And again, I think our guys have handled it well. You saw today's practice, probably a little more intense and longer than we've had of late, but that's off a day off, so I think you can get away with that a little bit. But there's a reality to it, especially as we're trying to build our game, that balance.
Playing Philly tomorrow. I mean, you've alluded to Tortorella a couple times in the past. Is he a guy like in the profession that you kind of?
Oh, yeah, will be extremely well respected. Obviously, his success as a coach, but I think just when the doors are closed, I think he's a big time human being. I know it's whatever. It's just a small thing. I don't really know him. Last year, he pulls the goalie. and pushes us out of the playoffs. He texts me at 7:50 in the morning the next day. Just no disrespect. This was our plan. He didn't need to do that. I just think people don't see those things in him. They see the brash, the hard. Obviously, someone I look up to in our profession and kind of career he's had, and obviously being an American coach too is exciting.
When you saw that, we were kind of like, wow.
Well, I half me wanted to punch him in the face, but no. Honestly, I just text back. You honestly didn't have to. I understand your process. It's the reality of it. And again, we could have been up 3-0, 2 minutes into that game, 5 minutes, and then their season would have been done. So there was no. But I just think it's who he is, and people don't see that. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Derek.